Good evening, this is the Hound Dog on the 25th of April 2017, and I wish you a very good evening. And what I'd like to have a little talk about this evening is, on YouTube I'm seeing more and more and more survival seed packages being offered for sale. And while this is all well and good, there are several things that you have to take into account when you're buying seeds to plant. For example, how old are the seeds? Where do the seeds come from? The age of the seed, every year that goes by, almost regardless of how it's stored, unless you're in that big vault up in Norway and it's absolutely totally climate controlled, all seeds will deteriorate over time, and every year you will see less germination from that package of seeds. Where did they come from? What zone do you live in? The zones are the different temperatures and growing seasons as you move from further south to further north. Now we're a zone 5 up here in Ontario, and there are certain things that just really do very poorly. We have a reasonably short growing season here, and so there are certain seeds that I would completely stay away from. I would never buy a California seed catalog, for example, and try and choose my seeds from California, because every time you grow a plant and it develops seeds, those seeds kind of acclimatize themselves to the general soil type, the length of the season, and the more you plant them, the more acclimatized they become. And so this is the whole idea of saving your own seeds. So now, one video I saw said, will you be able to plant for many years? Well, are these, for example, hybrid seeds? Hybrid is a seed that is made up of maybe 3 different varieties of plant. You may have one that is an early starter and is hardy, but it doesn't grow very high and doesn't produce many seeds. You could have that would be mixed with another one which grows very, very quickly, but is maybe a bit of a late starter, and a third one which is a heavy fruiting type of plant. And you mix those 3 together, and for 1 year you have a seed that will grow a plant that is tall, early starting, and a heavy fruiter. Okay, so at the end of the season, when you collect those seeds and you try and replant them next year, you will have one of those 3 varieties that were in that one plant that you picked. And it actually takes 7 years to turn a seed into a stable seed, so that it will breed true year in and year out. And even then, when I save my seeds every year, I am picking the best carrots, the best peas, the best beans, and I'm setting those to one side, because those are my seed crop for the following year. And so again, this comes into, you need to buy seeds that are locally sourced. There are seed growers everywhere, so look on the internet, do a little digging, a little research, and I am pretty certain that you will find a seed grower that is sourced close to you. Now, buying organic seeds, I don't think it makes a hill of beans, if you'd excuse the pun. Organic or not, it really doesn't matter, because if you grow them organically, they will be organic. Now, of course, you want to avoid any seeds that are coated with the neonicotinoids, but other than that, just because the package says it's an organic seed, that isn't going to make any difference whatsoever, because it really depends on whether you grow it organically yourself with natural fertilizers, using manure, natural pesticides, that kind of stuff. What is more important is that package says it's a heritage seed, because if it's a heritage seed, it has been stabilized, that seed will breed true. Okay? Year after year you can depend on the same plant to come from that seed, so that means you can seed save. Now if you go into seed save, do you know which seeds are annual and which are biennial? Okay, so carrots, for example, and parsnips, and turnips, all these kind of root crops, they seed in the second year. So you have to leave those carrots and parsnips and beets in the ground over winter, cover them with straw to make sure they survive, and the next season, that is when they will turn to seed, and that is when you want to have picked the best possible beet, the best possible carrot, the best possible parsnip to get your seed from, because that will determine the kind of vegetables you grow the following year. Now, it's very important that you think about this, because when you're planting seeds, I mean, say for example you've got a family of four, and you decide to put in a garden. Okay, well, not only do you have to grow enough food that you can eat through the summer, winter, spring, and early summer into your next harvest, you also have to plant enough seeds to make sure that you have a seed crop for the following year. So all of a sudden this gets a little bit more complicated than it first appears. So it's not just a matter of getting a barrel full of seeds and sowing those seeds and hoping for the best. So you have to also think about what kind of food do you like to eat. You are probably not going to be growing grains. Grains are, you just can't grow enough of them to make it worth your while. You have to have acres of grains to be able to grind up to make enough flour, to make a sack of flour. Okay, so this is just not practical. Again, corn takes up a lot of space. You're probably going to attract a lot of raccoons with corn. So you need things that store. Beans, peas, you can eat them fresh, you can eat them off the vine, you can store them over winter time. Root vegetables, carrots, parsnips, beets, squashes, they will also store very well. Okay, the potatoes, oh, how could I forget potatoes, my favorite root crop. But the potatoes are almost indestructible. And so you have to think about these kind of things. And I would really recommend that you don't purchase any of these seeds that are being sold on YouTube. And I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry I have to say this, but unless you have personal knowledge of the grower, like I say, I go to local, what's called CD Sunday. I think I made a video about CD Sunday, and there are about 5 local seed growers. I know all of them, and I have a good supply of seeds. I know they're fresh, and I know that I'm going to get 98-99% germination from these seeds, and it makes it all a little bit more personal. If something's gone wrong or something's changed, or you have an anomaly, you can go back to this person because we're on a first name basis. So all of these things are really important, and survival is not just a matter of buying a bunch of seeds in a barrel and going at it. Okay, I would certainly advising any would-be gardener that you need to be reading as much as you can right now. You need to be starting to plant something, even if you're in an apartment, even if you only have one sunny window or a balcony. You can get hanging baskets, you can get baskets that hang over the railing, you can get plastic buckets. And even if it's not a south-facing window, you can still do something. You can have indoor herbs in your kitchen, and usually kitchens have a nice sunny window. But what you need to do this for is to just start getting some experience of handling plants. They are pretty hardy, but there are certain things that all plants need to have, and You certainly can't be ripping them around. Yes, you can handle them fairly robustly, but they do need a certain little bit of tender loving care to make sure that they're going to survive. And so I would really recommend that you do your homework. From what I'm understanding and seeing, I'm certainly seeing this anyway in my own garden. Now, I've been a gardener. I've been a gardener since I was 5 with my grandfather. He would take me down to the allotment and he would show me how to garden, and I would share the produce. Well, I'd mostly eat the produce out of the garden, but it was just such a wonderful lifelong memory of where my food was coming from, what had to be done, how hard my grandfather worked making us compost and lovingly looking after these plants. Even just the idea of, you have to go in your garden every day. You just have to take a little poke around every day just to make sure that everything is doing just fine. Now, I've taken a lifetime building up those habits, okay? And so you need to start doing something right now to build up those habits and to get you into the frame of mind of being a little bit more sustainable with your food, because the climate is changing. It is getting cooler. We just had a major blackout in the USA. This is because the magnetosphere had been pushed dangerously close to the planet, below the satellite level, and this is because of changes that are taking place on the sun right now. So our weather is going to change, and that is going to affect the availability and the cost of food. So please, I hope you enjoyed this video. Take mind of what I said. This is survival now. We're talking life and death. Okay? So please like and subscribe down below. I will leave you the link to my website, and please, I would love it if you would donate. I certainly could use a second camera. I certainly am using equipment and bringing these videos to you, and I hope you're enjoying them as much as I'm enjoying making these videos. And anyway, I'm thinking of opening up a Patreon account and going forward in that way, seeing as the whole of YouTube is in a bit of a scramble right now. Anyway, as I say, like and subscribe. This is Hound Dog Steve, and we will talk to you pretty shortly. Take care now. Good night.